When I was 14, my mother's PTSD-riddled veteran boyfriend, we'll call him Nell, was throwing her around the kitchen as per usual. The fight was going steady when my sister came running into the darkness of my room, laid down next to me, and began sobbing uncontrollably. Turns out that in the middle of the fight she was taking a shower when Nell broke in and tried to rape her. A moment later my sister and I heard the gunshots followed by "Where are your kids? I'll fucking kill 'em." "Time to go," I said. I grabbed my sister by the wrist, pulled her out of bed and started running. My sister and I ran out the side door and into the pasture, bullets whizzing by. We crouched down behind an embankment to shield ourselves from the incoming fire and watched from the distance as our mother tried to stop him from coming down the hill towards us. He didn't like that one bit and proceeded to strike her repeatedly. When the blue lights arrived, we headed back up the hill to tell the police what had happened. They did not arrest Nell, nor did they confiscate his gun, and my mother vouched for him. I've slept with a weapon close by ever since. CPS got involved shortly after, and my mom made Nell move out. However, right after CPS backed off, she brought him right back in. I lived in the shadow of fear for a year, then went off to college. Nell died of a heart attack a couple of years later. Nell may have been honored and put to rest as a veteran, but if I ever come across his grave for any reason, I'm pissing on it. Some Iraqi dude got up in the morning in summer 2007, took a shit, had some coffee and breakfast, and then grabbed a handful of 60mm mortars and a tube and went and shot them at me. I'd, quite literally, just finished taking a shit and was pulling my pants up when a mortar landed about 30 feet away. By God's grace, inshallah, it was on the other side of a T-barrier. Scared the living hell out of me, but I'd already pooped, so nothing there. Yay. Also, rockets. I don't like rockets. One of life's strange thoughts is that a man like me wakes up, stretches, does his morning ablutions, has some sort of breakfast and such, then tries to kill me. I would love to meet him for coffee instead, to talk with him, to understand his life and his dreams. Does he have a family, hopes, desires? At the end of our conversation I would kill him. He would, after all, do the same to me. It is a very strange idea that someone gets up in the morning and does the most mundane things, then tries really rather hard to kill you. I was working at a big pizza joint and we had one guy who was a violent felon as an employee. He was actually an awesome dude, but had a problem with alcohol. He was on the straight and narrow for a while after he was released from prison. He was easily the hardest working and most humble guy in the store. Then he started hanging out with our frat boy manager and started drinking again. I've got stories for days about him, like when he broke into the store at night and fell asleep in our walk-in freezer naked and surrounded by cheese. In this instance he was bitching and yelling at everyone about them not working, and he was the only one who could do anything. So I decided, fuck it, I'll stay up front and help customers. My job was customer service, not cook after all. He didn't appreciate me refusing to help him. After his shift he waited in his car until it time for me to get off, then went and hid behind a pillar at the front of store with a big knife. One of the drivers saw him and warned me. I left out the back of the store. He was off the next couple of days and I guess he skipped a parole meeting, so we never saw him again. When I was maybe 7 I heard weird noises coming from my garage. Go out there, and my mother's boyfriend is smashing her head against a brick wall trying to kill her. I started screaming, and he starts chasing me. I ran to my room remembering I had a Stanley knife from doing crafts, so I went and grabbed it. Then heard screaming coming from my dining room. I run out there, and my sister is on the phone to police. Mum's boyfriend runs in and completely rips phone out of wall. I'm about to stab him with the Stanley knife when he notices and runs outside. I hear his car start, but he doesn't drive away. My mum and sister run to my sister's room to use a mobile phone to call police. Mobile phones were brand new around then, and I notice the front door is still ajar, not fully closed, so I ran to it to close and lock it, and right before it latches shut he comes back and slams it open, throwing me across the room. He ran into my sister's room and starts trying to get the phone, and I run to the neighbor's house. The neighbor was always a pretty rough but friendly guy. He realizes what is happening and like Rambo runs into my house while his girlfriend looked after me inside and hid my knife. A few seconds after he ran inside, my mum's boyfriend runs out and speeds away. I always wonder what happened when he went in. It turned out that my mum's boyfriend had been bashing her for a long time and even stabbed his own son. Once the cops found him, he spent the night in the cell and just got a 12-month good behavior bond. Another boyfriend of my mother was in an outlaw motorcycle gang, and when they broke up he claimed to have hired a hitman to take us out. So I wake up in the middle of the night with my house full of cops and they help pack our bags and stuff. I was probably 13 at the time and extremely mentally ill. I had really severe agoraphobia and had to go stay with my dad, who I did not get along with at all. I just wanted to go home, even though it wasn't safe. Whenever we needed anything from the house, a team of cops would go in and clear the house, guns drawn first. Eventually he got arrested and we were allowed home. That's just the most severe stuff that happened. There was way more than that. As a result, I'm extremely wary of being in relationships. I'm 24 and never been in a serious relationship, and I find it impossible to trust and confide in people. Even psychologists I can't open up to. When I was around 5 or so, we lived in an apartment complex. One morning I woke up and smelled something funny, but being so innocent I didn't suspect much of it. I sat around for a couple hours watching TV until I heard my mum rush into the room. She kept asking me if I smelled anything and came to the conclusion that it must have been a gas leak. She phoned the housing people and they instructed her to evacuate everybody from the building. She went door to door warning people about the gas, and when she reached the bottom floor she rapped on the last apartment. A man opened his litter box and my mum got a huge whiff of the gas. The maniac got divorced from his wife and attempted to blow the building up since he lost custody of his children. In his apartment was hundreds of broken lighters and a full gas canister, 3 fire trucks, at least half a dozen police cars and a single ambulance arrived. They busted down his door and dragged him out. We weren't allowed to enter the apartments for a while after this. About a year later he was released and attempted to do the same, however this time he had 2 canisters and was inside at the front entrance. You could hear every mother of the building screaming at him, threatening to kill him with a hairbrush. Thankfully there were 2 more exits and the exact same thing happened with the police and ambulance. Unsurprisingly we moved out a year after that, and I completely forget about it and the fact that I was almost blown up. Early army days. Girl I was dating for 2 weeks decided that was long enough to talk marriage. I declined. Later that evening, at a club, I was standing with friend near dance floor minding my own business. She came into club, assumed girl standing next to me way the reason for the no, and knocked girl out with chair. I didn't even know the girl. She was arrested. 2 days later, I stepped out of the shower. Army dorm had communal showers. To her standing there waiting for me with kitchen knife. I was 6 feet, 185, she was 5, 90 pounds, so was easy takedown. Arrested again. Temp restraining order against her given. 2 weeks later, I was awakened at 3 AM by friend who, returning from booty call, thought he recognized her car in the parking lot of our dorm. Sneaking around the back, got close enough to confirm, so we contacted MP. When they got to her car, realized she had loaded pistol in her lap. She was waiting on our morning physical training to shoot me. Arrested again, charged with illegal firearm and violation of restraining order. Given permanent base ban, permanent restraining order and a court date. No less than week later, me and 3 friends riding to mall in Suzuki Samurai. I'm in passenger seat. As we exit the highway, we hear sounds of something hitting vehicle like someone was throwing rocks at car. Realized by 4th or 5th sound we were being shot at 8 bullets hit car. Only 1 hit anyone. Grazed guy in backseat knee. Her and her cousin were arrested for attempted murder. She got 15, served 12. Cousin got 20, served 18. I was given orders and shipped to Germany within 10 days of last incident. Never will date a Panamanian girl ever again. Ever. When I was 15 me and my father got in a screaming match, I think because I didn't do my math homework that night or something. He threatened to strangle me if I didn't stop being upset, and I didn't believe him, so I provoked him again, and he stuck to his threat. He started choking me until I started to black out, and then I guess his conscience clicked on and he let go. I truly believe a moment or two more and I would have become unconscious. I'd never been so afraid for my life, and I've never looked at him the same since. He'd always been physical with me, throw me around, drag me by my wrist, but this was different. He'd once pulled a knife on my mother, which as a maybe 6 or 7-year-old I intervened and got him to stop. It was never my intention to start a chain reaction after this event, but I told a family friend and she got the police involved. I was taken from my home and put in independent housing. He got arrested and pleaded guilty, but got off with a slap on the wrist. I became depressed and then I dropped out of high school. This year I'm going to university and I just got onboarded into a government job, working my way up from an entry-level contracted security position. Instead of letting it ruin my life, I used it to fuel me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more daily 6 PM Reddit uploads.